Hi, everyone. I'm Shana J. from One Heart Mission. And today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Sarah Sparks, who I recently met through the Spiritual Communities Network. And oh my God, she is so true to her name. She is a spark and so much light. And so I would like to say thank you for accepting my invitation and being here with me to talk about mastering the moment. Wow.
Oh,
Thank
well,
you, Sarah.
thank you for having me. And say your name again so I can remember it. Is it Shayna?
Shane, exactly.
Shayna.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So why don't you present yourself and let us know a little bit about your work, the way you see it, and how you invite people in, and then we'll go into mastering the moment.
Yes, I love guiding fun, fabulous, fashionable, females who feel kind of lost or tired or worn out. But I help them to level up and lead with her soul, all by listening to her divine guidance. That is really why Spirit brought me here. Um, I am able to connect to another soul and channel why their soul is here. Spirit has given me the permission. God has, whatever people want to call that, inner wisdom. I don't, whatever. Spirit has just had me share that it is called divine guidance, and I teach people how to listen to that and how to tune into that. And we'll talk more about that. But I just believe that everyone has unlimited power, and that you are a limitless being, and that they have the power to lead with their soul, not just lead with their mind or even their hearts, but truly deep down of who and why they are really here. And then they can do that all by listening to their divine guidance, and I can help them tap into that.
So you just kind of make the bridge to where they
Yeah.
are, to really going deeper into their own intuition and
Yeah.
guidance and connecting with their higher source.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Love that work. I do some of the same.
Yes,
And
yes. I feel like there's so many different people who it's like we all
we have,
do the same thing,
yeah,
but we may use a different language. And then since there's, billions of people on the planet, that like we all, based on our own experiences and who we are and our hair color and the way that we talk and move and be in, and our work experience outside of this, like we draw in different people to work with, but it's like we all have a similar mission. It's what
right.
I have met several people, and I think we all feel like we are this unique, odd, crazy person at one point, and that no one is ever like us. And then we find like hundreds of thousands of people just like us, and we're like, oh, there you are. It's
I
nice to
know,
see
right?
you.
I love that. That's really beautiful. Because, yes, you're right. I found that along my pathway too. It's like I listen to other people talk about their work and I go, oh, that's kind of what I do. But the way you say it is your unique expression. And like you
Mhm.
said, I was shown very early on in my path how the universe works for in my path and then in your path, and it's like we all have the same goal, if you will. We all have the same vision and we
Mhm.
all have the same purpose, but yet we attract just the right people to
Mhm.
come and meet with us so that they can get exactly what they're looking for.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's just so precious.
It's a, also I help people when they are doing their marketing, which I'm not a marketing. I don't usually work with people just for business or marketing, but it's part of listening to your divine guidance is like, all right, when I am marketing, spirit, a higher vibration of consciousness has already been preparing the people you are to be working with So
Right.
then I tap into that and I'm like, all right, what are these people experiencing? How are they feeling? What's going on with them? Why do they want to, and I would say, level up and lead with their soul? Why do they want that right now? And then spirit, this higher consciousness, gives me the words that they're using, which makes it a whole lot easier then for me to communicate that, because then I'm using the words that they're using and not necessarily mine, you know? So
Right.
there's just so many avenues to listening to divine guidance. But I know you have other questions, and
Well, that's so
I kind of bird walked a little bit there, but
no, no, that's okay. That's so beautiful because I actually was guided to do the same thing. Yeah,
that's,
yeah, yeah.
I love it.
That's what I love about what you're saying. It's like we're just going to keep revealing how twin-souled we are, or from the same soul group or something. It's just so sweet.
I love
So
it.
I love your explanation. Um, so um, so what do you feel are the challenges to living in the moment, like for yourself as well as your clients? What do you see?
Um, so first, living in the moment, I would say, um, becoming that clear channel first and foremost. And what I mean by that is one must let go of their limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
their primary core belief of what I feel like there's like one, and spirit has given me this question, and more than likely is given you, or not he, but whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Like one question to like really just dive down deep, and then it's like we get to the core of the onion instead of doing like layer by layer by layer by layer. Like let's get to like what's really going on. And so I feel like a challenge is that we are so connected to what is stopping us that we don't even know what starts us, and it's being in that present moment.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like that's a challenge. Another one is like people not knowing how our subconscious works. So we are constantly working against the subconscious instead of with it. And what I share with people, and I'm sure, I mean, you already know this, but maybe the audience may not, but
Right.
like the subconscious is where all of our beliefs and attitudes and values and past experiences are stored, and it processes an average of 40 million bits of information per second, and then the conscious mind is processing an average of 40 bits of information per second. And I honestly don't understand like the bits of information and all the things, but what I'm saying is like, so if we're trying to be just present and still,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, these 40 million little soldiers come in and are telling us all the reasons why. Remember in the past, all those believies and those values that you have, that you can't be present and you can't explore who you really are? They come trudging in. So if you're like over here with your conscious mind going, I am present, I am present, I am present, I am present. These 40 million reasons of why not, these 40 are now like out the door, and you're like, I can't be present in the moment. So we have to know how to work with the subconscious instead of against it. And then a third reason that I feel like is like a challenge is people think that they need to, including myself, I say people, but these are all things that I have done and I've worked through. So I'm not just being like hypocritical and being like, yeah, these people. But so it's like we think we have to lower our vibration to meet somebody. And so like we get out of the moment because we connect them to someone else's drama or how they're feeling or what's going, like their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions. But spirit tells me over and over again, like your guides, your angels, God, source, creator, spirit, your inner wisdom will never dip down and lower its vibration to meet you.
Right.
You must raise your vibration to meet them. And so if you
Right.
want to stay in the present moment, you have to raise that vibration above all of the drama, all the stuff of
And
life, and
all,
just be
all
like,
their
no,
stuff. all their
Yeah, like here
minutia that's in
I
their
am.
field and yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So those are
Well,
three
go
things
ahead.
that I thought of when you asked about challenges of getting to that present moment. So
So another question that's coming to me to dovetail off of that is like, well, how do you feel about speaking to the soul self of the person? So your divine is keeping you at a higher vibration so you can constantly raise them up.
mhm.
And so is that where you're speaking
Yes.
to the way
Yeah.
you see them, not the way they actually are? You can resonate to how they are. You
Yes.
can empath to where they are or intuit, you know,
Yeah.
maybe by,
So but then their
yeah,
soul already knows what is next and what they need to do. And so the soul, yes, so the soul actually come there's a difference. So when I'm channeling, the soul is speaking as I, and spirit consciousness is speaking as we.
right,
So the person who I'm channeling for can know the difference.
yeah.
And then what I'm saying, the soul um, can really, the person who I'm speaking with is like, how do you know that? That's like me. And
Right.
I'm like, it is you. It's literally your soul talking. Like,
Wake up.
like, oh, of course I know who you are. But
Right.
that's also gotten me into like human Sarah. I see the goodness and who they really are. And so if they aren't in alignment with their soul,
Yeah.
um, primarily my husband, because we're really close. So like if he's not being his soul, I'm like, what in the goodness gracious? Like there were years that we were like this because I was like, I see you differently than who you're showing up as. And he's like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
that's just who I am. And I'm like, no,
Right.
it's not. No. So then I have to
Oh,
love what is. And then, so.
right, right, right. But to stay married, you kind of have to do a different dance than that because he's
Yeah.
not your client.
No, he's not
No,
my client. That I also had to learn.
absolutely. I know along the road, I've worked with like 15,000 people,
That
and
is so
that's not
awesome.
including groups. That's just the one-on-ones. And along the way, I had to learn how to be there for someone else truly, authentically, was not being just what I know or what gets channeled through in their session from their higher calling. But it is like, well, you're dealing with a person, so I remember times where I've had to say, remember you're paying me, and so you need to listen, and I'm going to help you walk this path, but I just want to, give you the lay the whole deal out first, and then we'll take it step by step. And they're like, oh, that's right, because they get engaged in a totally different way. But when as that energy transmits to them, and I really do believe that it does when you're one-on-one, even in a group. Now the energy is like really strong when
Yes.
you're there, and they're much easier these days to say, oh yeah, that's right, okay, so another thing I learned how to do was, I just have to say that I'm feeling a little resistance here. So
Oh yeah, that is
would
so
you like
key.
just take breath and open up and
Yeah. I so I'm launching two different programs right now, and so they have two different energies. So that's been fun trying to
oh, wow.
do that. That I have not done that before, but one group asked to level up and the other, like another one is coming in. So, just balancing the two.
Right.
And I was sitting there and Spirit gave me a whole list of names to go through. And one in particular, Spirit's like, she's scared. And so she emailed me like briefly, like a day after Spirit told me that. And it was all the reasons why she's scared.
Oh,
And I just was like, I feel you. Like, I feel you, what's going on, like talk with me. And when people like to feel heard,
Yeah.
felt, seen, and luckily we are given the gift that we can. It's also what I've learned in the beginning of when I started channeling. Not everybody's open to that message, but as soon as you say, hey, I have some insight that I'd like to share with you, it's just getting their conscious to approve of that. And once that's open, then it's like,
Okay.
oh, okay, yeah, sure.
It
I'm
truly,
open to that insight, so.
yeah, it truly is like an open door, and their energy fields relax so that they can take in what you're offering.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. And that is staying in the moment.
I was just going to bring it back to that,
Yeah,
because when you are listening to your divine guidance, you have to be in the moment.
yeah.
You can't be thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner and then also be channeling, unless you are cooking dinner and you're channeling at the same time, because that sometimes happens for me.
Well,
But
I'm sure that does happen for you.
I'll be like cooking dinner, and then I hear like Amira's my older one, and she's in school now, and so like Amira needs her help, and I turn around and Amira's like, "How'd you know I needed you?" Like she's always like,
Oh, they're very
she like she
true.
she she says, "Okay, I have some cards here, but you can't use your gifts. You have to actually make guesses, mommy." I'm like, all right. As she made a little video about how much she loves me and the reasons why she loves me. And she's like, because my mommy helps people. And she usually says, like, to people that she knows, my mommy talks with spirit and she helps people. But this was like in front of the whole class. So it was like, my mommy helps people. And we're just gonna leave it at that.
Good
I'm
for
like,
her.
this poor child's gonna have to deal with trying to figure out how to say
No,
that.
but you see, she's got it already. She's
Yes.
got it. She gets who her people are, her peers, and
Mm-hmm.
she gets where, how to fit in. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love it because that takes peer pressure to a whole new level. Oh, you have something new to teach here with your little Amir. I'm I'm telling you, sweetie, mark my words. She is going to help you speak it to her level and raise them up.
And she has more gifts along the lines of like if I were to teach her more woo-woo ways, she doesn't grasp that. She is more engineer science minded, and honoring that though is best because then she can accelerate in her own way. It's not me trying to influence my ways on her. And then we have Joy, who's 2.5. She's complete woo-woo. Like it's she and I are so connected. Like I was upset and I had some anger that was releasing, and the toe that's connected to the liver that's connected to the anger, her toe is got like a sore on it. And I was like, girlfriend, you don't have to take on the stuff. Like it's perfectly fine. Mama's dealing with it on her own.
Oh my God.
She used to be my mom in another lifetime. And
Wow.
so there will be times that she is like in her own little jibber jabber language telling me off. And I have to be like, girlfriend, I'm the mama this time. Step off. So it will be interesting. And both are very strong-willed women. So they will be
Wow.
fantastic adults, but raising them,
Oh yeah.
it's a little challenging.
Yeah. Finding your spot. Wow,
Trying to be present in the moment with the kiddos. Oh
God
my
bless
goodness.
you. You have brought in the new future.
Oh goodness. All right.
Thank
So,
you.
you're welcome.
I have a little different, I have
We'll stay tuned.
yes, exactly. Stay tuned. I have a little different generation. Actually, I think it's 2 generations of my children, and they're both like that
Yeah.
in totally different ways, just like you said.
Mhm.
And it's awesome because I always have been an entrepreneur, really a non-working mom, but an entrepreneur where I
Mhm.
did only what I loved.
Mhm.
And I taught my kids, they saw that example. And so they're entrepreneurs and they are doing what they love.
Mhm.
and helping other people in a different way. And it's just beautiful to watch. And so I love what you're saying. And that fits in one of the challenges too of staying in the moment, because you've got these different levels going on that you're attuned to, and you're moving more, I would say, more gracefully from one to the other than multitasking. I don't see what you're seeing as saying or as multitasking. I see it as a movement through the moment.
It's it's your beingness it's the being in the moment. It's the
Right.
vibration of who you are and everything that you're doing.
There you go.
That's the fluidity.
And that's a
So
beautiful way to say it. Because some of the other people I've interviewed have brought up, well, multitasking. And I'm like, well, multitasking isn't being in the moment.
no, multitasking is more,
Distraction.
it's more focused on the doingness of things, and it's not doing the moment.
Right. So
That's a whole nother topic.
I know. So I love what you're saying. Can you expound on that a little bit more and share with people what that feels like, and maybe, put a language to it?
Yeah, so let's say, for instance, being patient. So there is a vibration. Actually, Dr. Wayne Dyer has a book called Being in Balance, and I was reading through it for various reasons. And in there, it was like, being peace is different than looking for peace.
Right.
And it's like being in the moment is different than looking for a moment to
Yes.
be.
Yes.
So I have to remember that that's where like knowing who your soul really is has really paid off for me,
Mhm.
because I remember that I am an angelic being that spirit, God, creator sent here during this lifetime to teach people how to lead with their souls and how to listen to their divine guidance. Um, I'm finally accepting of that. It was really
Thank
weird
you.
it was really weird to say that out
Yeah.
loud so I mean, it was like last month that I'm finally cool with like saying it out loud.
Oh,
So
I get it.
but when I am that and I remember, then that is a whole nother higher vibration that I can be and I can communicate in. And so like beingness. So if you're just being peace, what does that feel like? So
Yeah.
then I go inward and I just am like, okay, if I'm being peace, what is that vibration? And then I let that ripple effect and radiate out to the entire household. And so let's say, for instance, back to the mama conversation, last week I had my inner critic on like Sunday, Monday, Sunday, Monday. It was really high on like what a crappy mom I was, or I mean, it just was having this record play. So spirit's like, listen to a meditation for motherhood. And so in there it was like, let go of the inner critic, calm the inner critic. It's okay. And I was like, this is exactly what I needed. That's so cool. But I was in the moment first and heard the message. And then I was in the moment a little bit more, still being this angelic presence that I am, having this human experience and learning. And so then I was like, okay, what does it feel like then to be this mama who this child just adores and loves? And so I didn't have to do something. I didn't have to multitask and, okay, I need to get up tomorrow morning and wake her up with a song and dance. And then
Right.
I need to go fix her breakfast and
Yeah.
make little triangle shapes for her sandwich. I didn't think that way. It was like, what does it feel like? And then there's a vibration to being that mama that loves on her kids and that her kids love her. And so I was just like, imagining that feeling and then that vibration. And I had to like rise up to that of this humanness. I had to rise up. And then it was Tuesday or Wednesday. Amira was having a bath and I was just sitting there on the floor outside the tub and chatting with her. And she's like, will you watch Flipgrid? for me today. I did something on there, and it's a way that the school shows like the videos and stuff that they take throughout the day and stuff. So I went on there, and here she wrote a letter. It was her writing assignment for the day, and they had to write it, draw it, and then record it. So they had to speak it.
Wow.
And it was like an Oreo thing, is what they call it, like an Oreo statement. So it was like a question, statement, and question. And it was like, do you love your mama? I love my mommy, and these are all the reasons why I love my mommy. And then make sure that you tell your mommy that you love her. Like,
Wow.
so me, I had to clear the energy, and then the universe comes in and gives her the idea to do this, because other kids talked about cleaning their room and their sister helping, but she chose mama. And here then she plays it back to me, and then I realize I already am being. The perception of me is me, my mind, the inner critic, getting out of the way so I could be in the moment with her. And she is already perceiving me as the mommy that I wish that I would be. So
Oh,
all I need to realize is that I already am. And
yes.
so there's where that being in the moment. And then I'm like, okay, cool, I am. So does that help to?
Well, what you're explaining is really beautiful and a very different kind of conversation that I've had
No.
with other people about it. It's wonderful. You're taking it to a level that's more energetic, that and able to put words to it is so beautiful. And because I live that way, and I've always lived that way. So like, I'll give you an example. When I had to ride the bus to school, and I'm in junior high, and I'm sitting at the back of the bus just because I'm wanting to be invisible because I see too much. And I don't know what to make of all that stuff because I'm like 11, 12, you know.
Yeah.
And I have all these thoughts about who all these people are individually. And I go, oh my God, they're so sad. And they're so this, and, you know,
Mhm.
and so it's weird. I don't know. I'm not sure how to language this, but what you're saying is kind of helping me make this gap here. It's kind of like what people say, you're living with the thoughts that other people are giving you. You know, like people are afraid this is what other people are going to say, and so they have that inner critic running.
Mhm.
This is different than that.
Yeah.
This is, there's a knowing that you can't talk about, where you know how people are feeling.
Mhm.
And I've known that for a very long time, although I never, I don't do that work. You know, my work is all on the mental fields, helping to
Oh.
relax the mind,
Oh, okay.
helping to show people how to live connected without, um, with the acceptance of their mind the way that it is, that
Mhm.
it's okay to have a critic. It's
Yeah,
okay, you know, yeah.
for
So,
sure.
so that's the work that I do. And I chose it because of what you're explaining. So now you're bringing in this whole angelic realm, because I also knew that I was an angel placed here on earth going, what am I doing in this family, in this area?
For sure.
Who directed this road to get me here?
My husband feels the same way about himself. He was like, aliens dropped me off. I know that they're going to come and get me at any point in time. He's like, I know I'm not supposed to be here. I was like, I'm sorry, but you're going to be here from now on, because now you're a daddy and you're a husband. And so that's just the way it's going to be. I need you. So,
Hey, you accepted the contract. Now you got to play it out.
yes.
Wow, that's really great, Sarah. I love how you're explaining this, and I hope this
And
communicates to people.
And I love that you mention that it, like your inner critic, like it's okay to have one. I feel so the ego, I look at an inner critic ego. And so often the ego, well, sorry, what I understand of it, and you probably have a very great knowledge of this. So the ego, what I understand was formed between 7 and 11. And so when I have these thoughts that come in, I think about my own Amira, who's 7, and she's stomping up the stairs because I won at Uno last night. And she's mad because she didn't win and she wants my attention now. And so it doesn't mean that she loves me any less. And it doesn't mean that I don't need her. It's just that I wouldn't take leadership and adulting advice from the 7-year-old stomping up the stairs. So that's how I view the ego. I'm not going to condemn a part of myself or be like, oh, it's the devil, that's horrible, like how my ego's crap, because like it's part of me.
Right.
I would rather love it quietly, like love it to be quiet rather than
in a conscious way.
and love on my ego and be like,
Yeah.
hey, like, could you ever support me on this? Like, I still need you. And I know that there's like a whole concept of the death of the ego and stuff. And I haven't gotten there, but I feel like we're all parts of me. The little girl, the ego, the soul, the body, mind, spirit. I'm all working together on various planes that I don't need one part of me to die. I think we all need to work together. So at least that's my perspective of things.
That is my perspective as well. That's what I'm saying. We're so connected here. No wonder we just sparked, when we first met. I totally agree with you. I feel that's why I work with the mind, to relax the mind, because there's so many facets of the way the mind works. And a lot of people think that the mind is the brain, and it is not. The mind is a function of the brain, and it's only one function of the brain. There's so many more. And so without going into a lot of detail around that, I just want to expound on what you're saying is being conscious and allowing. So in order to have peace in the moment and peace in your whole life, it's really good to be able to acknowledge what's there and not have to do anything about it, not have to fix it, not have to change it, not to be wronging yourself. Like, oh yeah, I've done that for years and now I have to change it because then I'll be better. Then I'll be smarter. Then I'll carry more energy. No, if you just acknowledge that you have it and accept it, that you are that way, you're made that way in perfection, then you're relaxing your entire physiology, letting it be in total peace and acceptance. The inner critic is like there for a reason. When somebody's doing something not good around you, you need to say something. That's okay. You don't have to fight, and you don't have to come into, a big argument. You could say, how about we discuss this a little bit more? I'd like to give my point of view on, if you don't mind, and you make space, but you don't make the space from an angry point of view where you have to give your point of view. That's what the ego wants to do. The ego always wants to be right and prove you're wrong. No, instead, you can still embody that peace and stay in the moment and say, I get your point. So can I give you my point now? And therefore you stay in peace and you stay in that vibration.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And when I'm listening to divine guidance, I even have to let my my own judgment, my own limitations, my own ego, my own questioning step aside.
Yeah.
So that way it's not an experience that I've had or that I think would be best for them. I have to take it to a whole nother vibration and consciousness.
Exactly.
So that way people can get the purest version.
They get the purest version of you. One of the things I learned along the way that's really helped me to be able to discern what the heck was really going on. And And, you know, a lot of people, one of the most common questions I got in working with people was, how do you know the difference between your own voice and your divine guidance? You know, I mean, I love that question. Of course, it made me go search, and how am I going to share this with people, you know?
Mhm,
Um, but here's what I got for myself in order to stay super present and super attentive to what's happening with a client or even family member.
mhm,
How may I serve? That goes on. And
mhm,
so therefore all the judgments and things that want to come in that are natural,
mhm,
they get superseded by how may I serve?
mhm,
How may I serve? And I say it over and over and over again while I'm listening. And
mhm.
therefore something usually comes directly from here.
I was just gonna say, then you probably feel it.
Then I,
Yeah.
you know, but and it's like the words get formed in the heart. And
Mhm.
then what comes out, my inner critic's going, who said that? I wouldn't have said that.
I found this. Oh, let me see if I can find it. So there was like in 2017, I wrote something on Facebook after having a conversation with 4 different people. And I was just like, oh, this is my aha moment. Yada, yada, how I normally talk. And I wrote, and I found it 4 years later. Obviously, it was like January something, and it was like it just came up as a memory. And I just have to read it because it's all about like being in the moment. So,
Right.
whatever you desire, no matter what it is, will eventually come to you. When it does, it will happen all of a sudden and feel out of the blue. It will feel easy, effortless, and enjoyable. Yet, you've been planning and creating and have become who you've needed to be to allow that desire to come to you.
Right.
And I read it over and over, and I was like, dang, that Sarah Sparks is smart back in 2017. So when you're like, your inner critic's like, whoa, who said that?
Right.
That's what, I was like, that gal's got it going on. I want to be like that chick.
Right. Right. I know. Oh God, that is, you know, loving and devotion, years of devotion to what I knew was stronger than the personality.
Mhm,
You know, just learning to embrace the power of myself, which frightened me at first. It was
mhm,
pretty scary because it was really powerful, and it still is. But because I've taken years to be with it and really appreciate how it's shifting the world around me. Wow. I mean, it's become like such a love affair.
That's
Oh, I
awesome.
love it. I love my,
Yeah,
yeah,
that is just
what
beautiful.
they've made me into is just beautiful,
Mhm,
you
for
know,
sure.
and I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Something else did that.
For sure. So
Yeah.
anything else that we need to
So yes,
discuss, or do you want me to share anything like that?
yes, I do. So what would you say are the values and maybe even some of the blessings? Because, like we talked about having the inner critic, and you know, sometimes people get like really angry and then they go, I'm out of the moment. And I'm like, wait. Being angry is not being out of the moment unless you try to change it. But
Mhm.
what if when you're just being angry, you're totally in the moment.
Yeah, and the
And
emotion,
some of the blessings that come from those kind of situations. So yeah,
yeah, those the blessing that comes from that kind of situation, the emotion that's coming up is a great indicator for you to know how close you are to be in alignment with your soul and how far away it is you are. So if you are being in alignment with your soul, maybe you would be experiencing more joy, more happiness, more peace, more excitement, more ease, versus if it's at anger, more than likely you are not tuned into the alignment of your soul. You might be 4 degrees, 5 degrees away from from that alignment. That's just an indicator. Okay, I'm not there. What's going on? Where is this anger coming from?
yeah,
Why am I experiencing this? And for some, you have to also ask, are these my emotions? Is this emotion mine? Because the people that come to me ask, have anxiety, have anger, have fear, have all a wide range of emotions. And what is happening is sometimes they're feeling what's happening around them, and that's not actually them, but they're taking on the emotion like it is their own. So recognizing that could be another blessing, like whether or not these emotions are really theirs or not. Anxiety, I can't say that this is true for everybody. I'm not a doctor or anything like this. I just have noticed when people are having a lot of anxiety and or depression, they may have gifts that they are feeling a higher vibration and don't know what to do with it, and sets their humanness on this spiral, this downward spiral. The anxiety that may feel like, whoo, like in your like that causes the feeling of like anxiety inside you, might actually be a higher vibration that's happening, but you don't know how to tap into that. You don't know how to explain that.
Right.
And so it just stays there. You don't know how to release it. You don't know how to ground yourself. You're just like, what the heck is going on? That energy manifested itself into my stomach a lot of times, and I would have a stomach ache for majority of my life. So those are just some blessings. The positive side that I would think would be, if you're being in the moment, you could be, and you are experiencing whatever emotion, but just being in the moment, you could have more effective and efficient decisions rather than worrying about what's going on 10 years ago and bringing that to the present moment.
Right.
But if you're being in the moment, then you can probably make the most effective and efficient decisions, because you have a higher chance of a higher likelihood of connecting with that divine guidance. If present moment, you could have path of least resistance, because then you could be like, all right, what is my path of least resistance, rather than, again, all the other future worries and the past worries. Just here and now, what is my path of least resistance? And then being in the here and now can also help you to create easy, effortless, more enjoyable life. It's just like what I'm saying with the motherhood and Amira. It's not that I had to change up my habit. I just had to change my vibration and let go of the inner critic thought. And here I already am being that mother that she is seeing me as, and that I wanted to be. So it was the easiest, effortless, most enjoyable path of least resistance, was just shifting my own energy.
Wow. Yeah, beautiful. Wow, that's like, whoo, again, you just go into these other dimensions where I'm like, God, which
Does that,
part should
does
I
that,
speak
is
on?
what I'm sharing with you make sense though? Am I wording it in a way that's making sense? Because sometimes I talk and I feel like I might be talking Chinese when people really need to be listening to Russian. So
Right, right.
am I making sense?
Yeah. Well, to me, you are. So I'm right there in your field. And yeah, there definitely are a lot of blessings that come from being present in the moment, and you explain them very well. Anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
No,
Just
this is,
about mastering the moment, or living in a way that you would like a message to give to people.
we have the power to create what we want to experience and what we want to feel. So much of, being in the moment, we are tuned into and concerned about what other people are going to say or do, and what they think of us, that we lose sight of who we are. And so we're really concerned about who we thought who they think we are supposed to be, instead of who we're really meant to be.
Yeah.
And so staying in the moment of like, all right, this is how I want to feel. this is what I want to experience, then just being there and even having that thought shifts you getting onto a Zoom call and expecting, oh gosh, this is going to go one way. I'm going to talk about this, about all the things that you think are going to happen. No, like I am going to show up. I'm going to have these conversations. I'm going to feel the feels. This is what's going to happen. There's a book that I read, and it was the first book that I used to read lots of self-help books. But there's a quote by Albert Einstein, and I'll probably butcher it some, but it's like, you cannot solve the problem with the same thought process that created it. And so,
yeah, that
and
creates it. Yeah.
so the book that shifted the way that I was thinking was The Four Agreements by Don Miguel, and it's right here. So that's why I keep pointing back there.
Yeah.
And in there, with being present in the moment, I think a lot of times we need to realize that nothing that anybody ever does or says has anything to do with us. And when we're concerned about what they are thinking and saying and going to do, we are taking ourselves out of the moment and putting ourselves in their moment. Well, that's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to remain at the highest vibration possible so we can remain in the moment.
Exactly. Plus, you could be wrong.
Oh yeah, more than likely we are. And I think that's another like another agreement is like, don't make assumptions or something like.
Right, because there's only one perceiver. There's only one, and that's you. And you're the only one that's going to speak through your own conceptual way that everything is for you. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. And
you're so welcome.
Can I give out my website if anybody wants
I'm going to post your website in the description. Cool. So when I post it, it'll automatically have your website there so people can contact you, and you're welcome to use this any way you like.
Yeah, sure. And I'll be happy to share it and share you with anyone. So,
well, thank you. I'd like that as well. And that's why we do this, because we're here all together helping each other. And so, Sarah, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a blessing to have you.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity, and we'll talk again soon. So,
we'll talk
so much love to everybody.
Absolutely. Have a great day, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.